I hate it when it does that. And I have to drop down like this. Ooh, looks like server be laggy. Wow, really? Whew. Okay, this is not the game. This is... What? Why is it moving if there's no battery in it? No charge. That was weird. Must be lag. Let's see, somewhere here. Oh, there's supposed to be a cabinet there. And I'm missing cabinets in here. Last time this happened, I had to leave the area and come back. Let me see if it's in here. I don't think it is. Yeah, I could maybe use one of these. But why do that when I've got one with, first of all, that weapons rack needs to be, is one of his guns missing? Looks like I've got to leave and come back. But I'm gonna grab some ammo first. What is that? A peach, 54%? I think it might be alright. Nope. Drop that. Yep. There's that orange. So, why is this video titled, "Will Operation Harsh Doorstop Succeed?" Well, it's because Scum, the game you're looking at right now, is highly innovative. Excuse me. Just like Operation Harsh Doorstop intends to be. Excuse me again. And I have an eye for this thing. See, in 1988, when I was serving in the Army, I was playing games on my Commodore 64/128 computer, and I was playing lots of Microprose titles, and also some, I think it was Infocom made some text adventures, I believe that was their name, and but mostly it was Microprose. Microprose made the best games for the most part for the Commodore 64/128. And I was playing F-15 Strike Eagle and F-19 Stealth Fighter back when people had never heard of the F-117. And that was a great disinformation campaign. They made you think that stealth technology was based on having curved surfaces, a la the SR-71. That's why the F-19 Stealth Fighter in the game had those curved surfaces. And but it turned out that it was exactly the opposite that was true. That flat surfaces were part of the stealth technology. But I believe it was during the first Gulf War that we found out about the F-117. Although I'm not sure, I think I did see a picture of a B-2 stealth, maybe? Stealth bomber. And that kind of has some curved surfaces on it. Let me see if I can put this bread in my pants. Yep. See, now that's innovative. Game where you could stuff a loaf of bread in your pants. In your, not just your pants, your shorts. And so I was playing these flight simulators, and then I also played Microprose's Airborne Ranger, which was a kind of oblique view, almost like a Zaxxon oblique top-down view, tactical shooter. I won't call it tactical first-person shooter because it wasn't first-person. And so that gave me an idea, because I had seen on the Apple II Plus, I believe it was the first Wolfenstein game, Castle Wolfenstein, I think. And I was really impressed by how gunshots looked on that game. It didn't actually have an object flying across the screen to represent a bullet. It just showed a muzzle flash from the gun, and if your aim was lined up with the target, then you got a hit. So that was a pretty amazing little innovation that inspired me, and I think I only saw it like once or twice. Anyway, so putting all of this together, I sent a letter to Microprose and I had a concept drawing of we'd call it a screenshot these days. Yeah, see, I'm missing some of my stuff here, my storage containers, so I have to actually leave town and come back to get them to load in. This is, I don't know if it's an optimization step, but it's, in my opinion, it's a bug that was introduced during the last scum patch. See, and yeah. So I sent a letter to Microprose, and with the concept drawing, and I don't know what's making me sneeze, but And I asked them for if they would create an infantry simulator, a 3D infantry simulator. That's what I called it. I didn't call it a first-person shooter, although the perspective was obviously first-person, as it was in Microprose's flight simulators. And I certainly didn't call it a tactical first-person shooter, but I did suggest that it might be best if the game were revolved around special forces, or maybe mercs even, I'm not sure. And guy's a little tired. Let's see. Metabolism. Well, he's got some energy. I just don't have a lot of stamina because I spent my points on other stuff. Do I have anything I can eat? Yeah, I can eat some bread. That'll help. Doesn't help that the server's lagging. So, and I waived any rights to the idea because I just wanted to play the thing. I could have some of this too. Let's see, which bag is... This bag is older. Let me see if it's any good. Nope, it's no good. Alright, I'm gonna need to drink some water to flush down that nastiness. Well, after a while, I got a response back from Microprose saying that they would forward the idea. Whoops. Oh yeah, my stomach's full. Apparently I was eating too much. Well, I don't need this because that's spoiled. But I should probably sit down for a minute because I've been eating and drinking too much. So I got a letter back from Microprose saying that they would forward the idea to their research and development department. This was around 1988. Well, around 1992 or 3, Electronic Arts, and I was kind of out of the loop for a while because after I finished my 3 years in the Army, I became a missionary and didn't really have access to any entertainment stuff for a couple of years. And then I came back from that, and I was kind of poor for a couple years at least, and so then finally in the mid-90s my father handed down a PC, a personal computer to me, and you know, it was, I think that was a Windows for Workgroups 3.1 or something like that system. And so I could play a game like Scorch on it. I'm not sure if I had Diamond Chess, or not Diamond Chess, but Laser Chess on it or not. I'd seen Laser Chess on the Amiga computer, and it was featured in a magazine for the Amiga computer, which I did own an Amiga near the end of my term too, but I didn't have a lot of games for it, and didn't really see a lot of games for it on the post-exchange shelves at Fort Wainwright, Alaska. So, so anyway, in the mid-90s, I don't know where I was, but I happened upon a copy of Electronic Arts SEAL Team, and it looked an awful lot like my concept art that I sent Microprose. And it basically had everything that I talked about. The only thing is that in Electronic Arts SEAL Team, you didn't actually aim at targets with your mouse. Used a joystick, and even the joystick didn't aim at targets. You would sort of like lock on to targets the way you would in a flight sim, and then the game would calculate your hit percentages. I guess that's kind of similar to Fallout. I don't know, which seemed like a strange mechanic in Fallout when you could just use your hand-eye coordination in order to shoot at things. But anyway, Fallout has that mechanic, and that's kind of the way it worked in SEAL Team. So, well, you know, it wouldn't be long before Doom would come out, and then there was the 3D Wolfenstein game, and both of those like really set the stage for aiming in a 3D environment. I guess using a joystick. I'm not sure if you even used a mouse at that point. Maybe it allowed mouse support. I don't know. It's been a while. So yeah, so the whole idea for an infantry simulator was innovative. And then when I saw Rainbow Six One, they had a big cardboard silhouette, I think, of a counter-terrorist operative. And I had seen the movie Who Dares Wins, otherwise known as the Final Option, I think. And that showed off the SAS, the Special Air Service, and in a scenario similar to the Iranian embassy siege in London. And I was just blown away by the techniques I saw in that movie. And I'm not sure, but I think I might have seen that before I joined the Army. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Anyway, it might have been after, so that would have been the early 90s, but I want to think that I saw it before I went in the Army, which was in 86. So anyway, I keyed right in to Rainbow Six One, and I had a somewhat better computer that my father also handed down to me at the time, and but I had only one Voodoo card in it, and that wasn't enough. So then one of my old Army buddies, he explained to me that I could actually connect a cable to a second Voodoo card that he sent me, and I could run them in tandem. And then with two Voodoo cards, I had enough 3D processing power to play Rainbow Six One on the PC I had. And oh man, what a game. That was just amazing. And I think it was about the time we started getting into Rainbow Six One that we either heard the news. We may have already heard the news that Rogue Spear was coming. Anyway, somehow we found out about Rogue Spear, and then my dad and we took a copy home. I'm not sure if we bought 2 copies right then, but we we installed it on his computer, and we went onto the city streets map, and we were just blown away by how much scarier the enemy AI was in Rogue Spear. And I was like afraid to even move out of the second floor of the end of city streets at first, because you felt like, as soon as you did, you were going to get wasted. So, anyway, so Rogue Spear was just awesome. And then, and that was 1999 or so, maybe 2000. Well, then in 2000, I started seeing screenshots for Operation. I think at first it was called Flashpoint, and then I think Codemasters insisted that it be called Operation Flashpoint, and then they had the rights to the name, but Bohemia Interactive had rights to the code for Operation Flashpoint, Cold War Crisis, and I think also Resistance. So, which is how they could, or was Codemasters the publisher of Operation Flashpoint Elite also? They might have been, but if they were, their handling and their distribution of Operation Flashpoint Elite on the Xbox was just plain incompetent or apathetic, one of the two. Because from what I heard, like, store shelves were packed with copies of Operation Flashpoint Elite in Finland. But in America, you might see 1 or 2 copies on the shelf. But from the multiplayer community that was on the classic Xbox, the Americans that tried the game, they were blown away by it. Anyway, so we know what an innovative title Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis was. It preceded Battlefield 1942 as a full-spectrum warfare tactical first-person shooter. Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis's weakness was that the engine did not allow mid-game joining or join in progress. So players would basically line up in a lobby similar to Rainbow Six or Rogue Spear, or at least Rogue Spear anyway. I'm not sure about the Rainbow Six lobby. And then the game would begin, and if you lost your connection, well, good luck. You couldn't get back in. You had to wait until the game ended. Well, that was fine and dandy for a game session that lasted 3 minutes, as you might have in Rogue Spear, but that was no good for a full-spectrum warfare simulator like Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis. So that was a severe flaw in their multiplayer interface, I guess you would call it, and that really hampered Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis's and Resistance's popularity. Battlefield, you could join a game that was in progress. So for that reason alone, it could do much better as a multiplayer game. But nevertheless, Operation Flashpoint was extremely innovative and groundbreaking, and I could see it from a mile away. All I had were screenshots, and there was no demo yet, and the developers started issuing these, or releasing these, they called them unit videos, For example, they would make a truck, like a deuce and a half, right, 2.5 ton army truck, and then they would release a video of the soldiers piling into the truck and then it driving off. And it might be like 2 or 3 minutes long, but the fans that existed for the game that didn't exist yet, we would just drool over these unit videos, every time they released one. And we had a lot of input on what got added to the game. Bohemia Interactive added features to the game that I wanted, even though you would get these self-appointed gamers that they like appoint themselves like the moderators or the managers of the development team when they don't even work for the development studio, right? And if a fan asked for a feature, these guys would say, no, they don't have time for that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, who appointed you the manager? You're nobody. You're just a fan, just like us. You have no say in this matter. And then Bohemia Interactive would turn around and give me the thing that I asked for, even sometimes when they would say initially that we don't think we'll be able to do that, and then bam, a week later they would do it. And it was like, for example, fully rendered forests, like here in this scene. Operation Flashpoint did that. Now, you had other games where you would have a tree here and a tree there, and that was supposed to be a forest, right? But Operation Flashpoint gave you fully rendered forests at first. Bohemia Interactive said, well, no, it's only going to be about 50 meters deep, and then after that there's going to be a wall, similar to like Rainbow Six 1 or Ghost Recon, which Ghost Recon wasn't out yet, so I'll have to retract that, but we all know what we're talking about. Ghost Recon had that sort of thing. Ghost Recon had invisible walls, like you'd get these wankers from PC Gamer USA that would criticize Operation Flashpoint for supposedly invisible walls when really they were just like areas of play. Like the mission was only supposed to occur within a certain area, and they didn't really want you wandering off and seeing other parts of the unique island before you got to that point in the campaign, right? But then PC Gamer USA would act like you were somehow being restricted. And then they would turn around, and because they had a reach around relationship with Red Storm Entertainment, they would ignore the fact that Ghost Recon actually had invisible walls in it. So anyway, so Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis was extremely innovative. Konami's The Regiment was another one I saw ahead of time that was innovative. That was a tactical first-person shooter, counter-terrorist shooter where you basically had to like run like a bat out of hell. You had to move through the mission at an extremely fast pace if you wanted a good rating at the end. So it encouraged like a completely different style of gameplay than you would get in Rainbow Six 1 or Rogue Spear, where you would take the time to, stack up at a corner, lean around the corner, get some headshots, and then move to the next point of cover. In Konami's The Regiment, you open that door, you shot whatever you saw to shoot and yelled clear, and then moved to the next door and did it again and again and again. Excuse me. Anyway, so So why am I playing Scum? I'm playing Scum because it's extremely innovative. The development team has that same spirit of innovation that Bohemia Interactive had in its early days. I think that the Arma series has kind of become an institution of its own, so that they're like not taking the same kind of risks maybe that they would have in the early days of Operation Flashpoint. And but the developers of Scum, Gamepires, they're taking risks, and they've made in Scum the first game where I am afraid to get my character into dangerous situations. And why is that? Well, it's because you have skills. Let's see if I can show you here. So here are my skills. Where's the skills list? Where did it go? Here they are. Brawling, melee weapons, archery, rifles, handgun. Some of these I've leveled up. Constitution, running and endurance, dexterity, thievery, demolitions, motorcycling, driving, throwing, stealth, intelligence. I have awareness, camouflage, engineering, sniping, survival, medical. Now, these these things don't really affect your first-person shooter skills in a very gamey way that I've seen. At least I can't perceive that they do, but they do affect like things you need to do because this is a survival game. It's it's a PvP game, but it's also PvE and a survival game. So the first thing you need to do in this game is survive. And then you can go on to, other aspirations. But you might run into PvP in the you know, first 10 minutes or something, potentially. So you got to make do with whatever your skills are at the time. But in addition to leveling up your skills, you can also increase your attributes, and it looks like I've actually gotten weaker, I think, maybe in Constitution and Dexterity, but I'm not sure because maybe this is exactly what I tried to roll up at the beginning. But another thing is that you loot, so you gain items and you can store them away, and so you amass wealth. And that's another reason why you might not want to die, because, for example, I'm carrying right now a VSS sniper rifle that I don't really want to part with. And if I get shot, then I could lose that. And I don't really want to lose it because it's not an easy thing to get. In your typical tactical shooter, your avatar is carrying whatever weapon he's issued, and he can always expect to get another one because, the government has a bottomless supply of weapons. But in this, you've got to work to get the things you want. So it makes you want to stay alive. I don't really see any puppets over there right now. The puppets are the equivalent to zombies in this game. They're actually like remote controlled, reanimated humans that the company running the prison uses to attempt to kill some of the contestants or corral them or get them flushed out so that they'll be more visible to other players who will try to kill them. Anyway, so I've been playing this game for about 2 years, and avidly, because of the reason I mentioned. This is the first game that makes me afraid to die. And that's something that's missing from, and has always really been missing from tactical first-person shooters, is a fear of death. Let's see. Right now he's needs to urinate. Yeah, there's urination in this game. If you've ever stood on a guard point all night long, you're familiar with urination. Also listening for animals, because there are animals in this world and I can harvest them for meat. And this is a potato plant. Here's a potato. A potato for the potato. So, in concept, this game is supposed to play like the Hunger Games or a battle royale game like PUBG, but right now the way it's designed, it doesn't really work that way because players don't run into each other often enough to make it play that way, and the game doesn't really herd players together the way PUBG does with its zones. It tries to, like you'll see on the map, there are these parachutes. Those are supply drops, so it tries to entice players to go after those and encounter each other that way. But on this particular server, that's a guy on an SUV. On this particular server, I'm right now in a PvE area, so there's no PvP allowed in this area. And that's lag. And now my crates are back. Let's see. Local, so I'm going to ask him if he wants some cooked steaks. And first I need this I can put out here. So he's probably in the nearby police station. And I could throw these potatoes in there too. And that takes care of that. And there's money in this game. I've got 7 $10 bills and one $100 bill that I've found. And on this particular server, and probably on every server, once the version 0.7 update hits, I'll be able to use that cash to buy things. So, because they're supposed to have trading posts. There went a guy on a quad bike. Did I call it an SUV earlier? I meant a quad bike or ATV. I want to get rid of this jacket if I can find space. Let's see. There's space right there. Okay, it's gone. That's probably it right there. Anything else I need to get rid of? I can get rid of some of these padlocks. So you could use padlocks to create locks that you use to lock up your crates. And so item got destroyed. What the hell are you talking about? I wasn't crafting anything. Oh no. Something I had in my inventory, apparently. Might have been one of my dollar bills. Decayed, got too old. You know, that doesn't happen very often. Usually you see items get destroyed in a crafting process. Okay, this is lag. Yeah, see? that was super lag. Usually headshots would drop on the first shot with an VSS. Anyway, I can't really play when the server gets this bad. There's just probably too many players on right now. Yeah, see, even the players are complaining about it. I don't see any lotteries lately. Let me see. So I can't see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any lotteries, so it's not telling me how many players are on. Oh, there's a lottery. Oh yeah, there's 41 players online, yeah. And this server, whenever it gets close to 40 players, it's just too much. So what's this all got to do with Operation Harsh Doorstop? Well, what Blue Drake is wanting to do is something that I can see from a distance off, is the sort of innovative thing that's going to make a big splash. You don't... you can sit there in the comments and you can talk your crap, but I've been seeing these things coming from a mile off for over 2 decades, and Operation Harsh Doorstop is one of those things. Now, heaven forbid, someone comes along and tries to sabotage what he's trying to do. But, I mean, he is on track. He and his team are on track to make it happen. And it's already happening. I'm already enjoying playing what they've made. I could sit there and battle those bots all day long and be totally contented because I can get in there, have a quick 20-minute session of doing nothing but fragging bots, and it's fine. It's, satisfying. The game, is going to keep getting better, undoubtedly, as it has already. But as it is right now, I've already gotten my money's worth from the Patreon support I've given to the project. And that's how I got my key to, play the test environment. So, you could talk crap about it. You guys that can't even afford a simple, Patreon donation. But me, someone who has spent hundreds of dollars on titles that he has supported in the past because I believe in good projects. You know, I've been satisfied with every title that I've seen that has appeared as innovative as Operation Harsh Doorstop does. And I'm not going to say that it's so much the features of what's in the game, but it's the intent, the vision he has for it, the direction he's trying to go with it, the objectives that he's laid out to reach and accomplish that make the title innovative. And I've encountered you naysayers before. At the end of the day, you try to hide your embarrassment for the things that you've said by talking more crap and covering up your own words with lies. But really the work, the product, the end result just shows you up for what you really are, which is you're just naysayers, critics. You're the guys who say, well, if you don't like it, why don't you make your own game? Well, then when the guy starts making his own game, then you come talking more shit. But you're not making a game. You're just talking shit. Blue Drake is making the game. So you're just a shit talker. So, and I've dealt with you guys for decades, and you're little shitters, and I'm not impressed with your little shit comments. I'm impressed with the end results that I see coming from miles away, and this Operation Harsh Doorstop is one of them. Scum is another one of them. I believe that Bohemia Interactive could give us another title that's innovative and makes a huge splash. But they've got to recapture their old vision, I think. But I think they could do it. Drakeling's Labs can do it. Gamepires can do it. You just got to remember what games are about and why you're making a game and what kind of game you want to play. You can't be thinking about how do I extract as much money from the suckers that play my game as I can. That's just going to kill your game. So, and that's not the attitude that Blue Drake 42 seems to have. So I'll go ahead and end the stream here since my Scum gameplay doesn't look like it's going to be all that great tonight. Maybe after 9 o'clock it will be, but I'm an aging guy, so I need my beauty sleep